I'm Caroline Fabricas, and welcome to our ScentFluence sit-down series. And here we are at the ScentFluence Aroma Design Studio in Scarsdale Village. It's a rainy Saturday, Memorial Day weekend, and I am so really excited to welcome Karen Dubin, who is a dear friend, industry colleague, and fellow scent lover and influencer. Welcome, Karen.
Hi, it's so great to be here, and what a better day. It's horrible weather outside, pouring gray, and here I am in this place filled with wonderful scents. And I'm having such a great time smelling everything, and the best place to be on this holiday weekend.
It's so great to have you. We've had such a fun morning going through the library and
we've gone through everything. We've gone through everything. Yeah, that's like paradise for me.
Oh.
I can never sniff enough, you know.
Well, speaking of sniffing enough, my first question for our guest today is, tell us about you and how did you develop such a love of scent?
I actually know exactly when it happened. I was 4 years old. I can clock it to the day. My grandmother, Rose Sherman, in Philadelphia, where we were living, that's where I was born, she used to take cruises. Those 3-month cruises on the Queen Elizabeth and the Queen Mary, those elegant cruises that we don't have those so much anymore.
Woman.
Yeah, and she worked her whole life, and was born in 1900. And when she was 60, she retired. She had her own business. She was the first woman owner of a superette on the East Coast.
She was a trailblazer like you.
She owned a meat market. She taught her husband how to cut the meat. And she worked her entire life, put 2 kids through school, and when she was 60, she wanted to see the world.
Amazing.
Her husband didn't want to. He wanted to stay home and tend to the rose bushes and watch the fights on TV, as they used to call them, the fights and the boxing match. And she wanted to travel. And so there was a pretty courageous thing for a woman to travel by herself in the 60s. But I remember helping her pack for the trip. She had a big trunk. She had a mink stole and gowns, and she set off on a world cruise. And when she came back from that first cruise, she had for me little perfume soaps from hotels. The Ritz in Paris, the Savoy, and the Connaught in London. There were 2 that I remember. And I loved the soaps, and I not only loved the smells of them, and I kept smelling them, I loved the colorful paper they were wrapped in, the graphics on the paper, the designs. I was instantly drawn to them, and I kept them in a little shoebox, and I kept bringing them out to smell them all the time. She was very observant, very smart. Next trip, she came back with little bottles of perfume. I remember the perfume. It was Joy by Patou, Chanel No. 5, Tweed, and Mon Grif from Carven, which means my signature. Those were 4 that I remember. I had them lined up on my dresser, the little bottles, and that was it.
You were hooked.
By the age of 6, I bought my first series of perfume, Arpège by Lanvin. Way too sophisticated for a little 6-year-old, but never occurred to me. I just loved how it smelled and how it made me feel. And by the time I was 10, I was wearing men's scents. Ralph Lauren Chaps. I loved the patchouli and the wood. And it never occurred to me that a 10-year-old girl could wear this. And I chronicled every part of my life through fragrance. Started in 2000 when the internet was coming into play. I started a group called Sniffapalozza.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So Sniffapalozza, what a great name. I'd love to, let's talk about how did you come up with that name and what motivated you to create Sniffapalozza? What is Sniffapalozza?
Sniffapalozza is an international event-based organization for fragrance enthusiasts. And I started it because I wanted to meet other people who loved and appreciated fragrance the way I did. I couldn't believe I was the only one on the planet that wanted to talk about, vetiver for half an hour and smell everything, and and I cared about, I wanted to know who the perfumer was, and I was writing fragrance reviews for an online website called Makeup Alley, and through there I made a lot of friends, and I decided to hold an event. I lived in New York. I had access to my 4 favorite stores, where I was known at the counters as a very informed customer: Barney's, Bergdorf's, Taka Shemaya, and Bendel's.
Yes.
Unfortunately, 3 of them are gone.
Yes,
yeah,
unfortunately.
But
Bergdorf's is still
Bergdorf's still there, and they were the first. I got a connection there, and I walked in and made a pitch to them. I had a meeting with them, and I said, there is a customer out there you know nothing about, totally smitten with fragrance, informed, they're brave, they're bold, they want to try everything. They love it, they want to read about it, they want to study it, they want to know how it was made. I said, and they buy a lot. And I said, I want to do an event, and they said, we'll do it. And once Bergdorf signed on, I walked into Barney's, told them I had Bergdorf, everybody else signed on immediately. Because once you have Bergdorf Goodman, you have the world.
Yeah.
And that first event ended up being, I worked with them for a while, and they were great, a great partner. 2004, October 2004, first event. I wasn't sure who was going to show up, but it ended up being 45 women and 12 men. And we had a great event. Bergdorf had gone through a lot of planning with me. They were very good partners. I picked 6 brands that I thought would resonate, and it was such a success that I worked with the 4 stores, and I taught for the luncheon. It was such a success that 6 months later, when I called back to say I wanted to do it again, my contact had left, but the person that picked up this phone said, hold on for a minute. She said, came back, you're Karen Dubin, right? I said, yeah. She said, Mr. Bill Brobson, who was the general manager of the store, he said, give her anything she wants.
Oh, the Karen Dubin.
Well, apparently that event was very successful.
Yeah.
People bought a lot.
Yes,
and
they
the buyer told me they told me we're starting to buy differently because of you and your group. We understand now that it's not just about Chanel No. 5 and commercial brands, although we love them. They started looking at smaller brands and niche brands and artisanal brands and harder to find brands and brands that didn't fit the Coca-Cola mode. But anyway, it was great, and I've been doing it now since, that first event.
And you have, and in fact, you've even taken this global, of course, pre-pandemic, but hopefully as we all emerge, you'll be able to start traveling again. But tell us, I remember you telling me about one of your most favorite trips.
Yeah, we started to do trips. We did the live events.
Right?
We did the live events. And from that, I got a really big following. I had 500,000 people that talked through my fragrance.
I remember nominating you for a CEW award because you had such an amazing following.
I won the Great Idea and Fragrance Innovation Award.
It was a great idea.
Thank you so much. I got IFF gave me the award, the Great Idea and Fragrance Innovation Award, for starting a movement. And you know what? I was doing it for passion, and when I got that award, it was amazing to me because the other people that usually get that award get it because they've worked in the industry. But I didn't work in the industry. I just did it for love. It wasn't a business, it wasn't my job. I just did it because I completely loved everything about fragrance, how it was made, who the perfumers were, the thought that went into it, everything from the first idea on the back of a cocktail napkin to the finished product on the shelf. I loved it all. And when I got the award, it really changed my life, and I thank you for that. But we did trips too. The live events were fantastic.
They were fantastic.
And they're global. But we started to do the trips. We've done 7 places, and Paris was the first one. That makes sense. We did Grasse, which was great. Florence, I think, was my favorite one.
You mentioned that, so tell us about the Florence experience.
The Florence trip was almost like an out-of-body experience because by that point we were super well known, and every brand wanted to be with Sniffapalozza because we are the customer that really appreciates what they do. We're not your average customer that buys their 1 bottle of Chanel No. 5, their 1 bottle of Angel once a year. Those are beautiful fragrances, but this customer was interested in all kinds of fragrances. So when I started to investigate that trip, and we were working with a travel agent by that point, I was calling brands. I remember somebody gave me a connection at Ferragamo, and they got so excited. They said, "Oh my goodness, Sniffapalozza!" And we had a whole day. They have a palace in Florence, and when we walked up to it, because you walk everywhere in Florence, there was a red carpet.
Wow.
And draped across it was Welcome Sniffapalozza. And they had footmen dressed in 17th century garb. They were serving us breakfast on trays, and we went all through the palace. And the Ferragamo family still lives in the palace. And the lower level was the shoe museum, the famed shoe museum, with the famous shoes that they made for Carmen Miranda and Ruby Keeler and Marilyn Monroe. They're all in the shoe museum. And they took us all through everything, and then they said, and now for Sniffapalozza, only anything you want to buy 50% off.
Oh, that's...
I didn't get to shop because I was too busy corralling the group, but we had people walking out with 6 and 7 shopping bags full of shoes and perfumes, And they had bags of perfumes delivered to our room. Everybody got a bag of 6 or 7. Yeah, but every brand. We visited with Santa Maria Novella, which to me was very emotional.
I had the chance to go there once.
Did you go to
Prada?
Yeah.
We went into the countryside. We were building an installation.
It was near
for
Parma.
Prada Beauty.
Yeah.
And we were staying in Florence to be able to take this trip to the studio where they were building this installation for us. So we stayed in Florence, and we were able to go to that perfumery, which was
the whole production facility.
Life-changing.
Yeah, the production
facility. It is the most beautiful, historic, magical place.
Well, you're talking about the one that's in Florence, right?
Yes, the one in Florence.
We did that.
Oh.
But we also went to their production facility, which is in Parma. They sent a bus for us.
Oh my gosh! I just went to the perfumery.
The family got really excited because Sniffapalozza, we are aficionados.
So you went behind the scenes.
They sent a bus for us. It rolled up, a huge luxury motor coaster. They took us out to, they have a production facility where they make everything. And they make everything by hand still alive. But like, they took us to, when you get there, they gave you a shopping bag, and as you did each room, they would show you what they were making. They did the famous pomander ball. They showed us them putting them in the kiln, and then when you left, they dropped one in your bag. We actually all had to buy another suitcase to go home from all the stuff. They still put tie hand ribbon. They put seals and ribbons by hand on every bottle of fragrance. They had biscuits and liqueurs. We had lunch with them, the family. So that trip was unbelievable. We had people from the brands. We had 2 Italian brands that ended up being important in my life. They come from Positano. Eau de Lee was one of them, and they come from the Serenus Hotel in Positano, which is one of the world's great hotels. The creators of their perfume brand flew to be with us, and we spent a day with them. And then a few distributors spent the day with us, and it was just, I don't think I ever bought one meal there. We had distributors and brands, Givaudan, Firmenich, IFF, all hosted us there. I mean, we were VIPs there, and that happened on every trip. But that trip, for some reason, I mean, I remember just the Tuscan food and just the whole, it's my second time in Florence, but it was just the way we were treated, and we got to meet with perfumers in their studios. They appreciated that we appreciated what they did, and that's what kind of sets us apart. We're a group of people that really love and appreciate fragrance.
And all aspects of fragrance. And seeing you with your group here this morning is such an honor.
And this was just a little spur of the moment. People that wanted to come, you know, we've done events, you and I've done many events together, but this was a spur of the moment trip. We're just coming out of the pandemic. People are traveling now. They want to feel good. They want to put some new fragrance in their life. And it was an easy trip to come up to Scarsdale on the train and spend. And you see the passion. You see the passion.
So much passion. And people traveling an hour and a half to be here. It's so nice that we're all vaccinated now. And so we can be a little closer and really enjoy smelling.
And now we'll be able to organize a larger event, you know, on Saturday, I think for sure. You know, this was kind of like our dress rehearsal, but you can see how happy it makes people. Fragrance makes people happy, and that's what it does for me.
In fact, I guess my closing question for you is as we emerge from the pandemic, we've seen fragrance have such an influence during the pandemic.
Yes.
Tell us about that, and tell us about what you think the future of fragrance is.
Okay, well, those are easy questions for me because I watched it during the pandemic, and people were now at home and they weren't running into an office or running places, and so their environment became more important to them. And the sales of candles and diffusers and home fragrance shot through the roof, but also perfumes. They wanted to feel good, they wanted to feel better, and scents are one way to do it. And I had people writing to me that they were discovering fragrance that I talked to them about before. I'm trying it now. I bought some. They now were able to focus on themselves. They were quarantining, or they were living not out in the world, and fragrance became really important for people to feel good. I actually bought a lot because there was ones that I felt I wanted to try. It was so easy to order them. You can order anything online now. I actually tried new fragrances, and I own a lot, but it was a time of wanting to feel renewed what's more special than trying a new fragrance? You love it, you know. Feeling taken care of, coddled, maybe taking care of myself a little bit, and it's been great for fragrance. The future is that I love about what happened is now more people are aware of fragrance.
Oh, yes.
It was a teaching thing too. I had people writing to me that kind of knew what I did. Hey Karen, I have a question. I'm trying this new fragrance. You know, what do you think about this? And what do you think the notes are? They got excited about it. And even people that didn't wear fragrance were finding it. They were looking for anything they could find to physically alter what they were having to go through. A lot of people weren't going out at all, but they could feel great with fragrance.
And they could feel that they were traveling through the day and
I
breaking up
call it armchair travel.
Right, armchair travel. Yeah.
Like I told a lot of people about the Italian fragrances that I discovered, and I said, you know, you can't get to Positano or the Amalfi Coast right now, but I recommend this one if you want to smell like the lemon groves, you know, I said, or if you want to smell like you're there. I said, you know, and fragrance has gotten huge now. People are more interested in it, and I think they're more interested in expressing themselves with it. They realize now there's a million different choices. You're not just relegated to what you could find at your local Macy's, although Macy's has a wonderful fragrance department. There are now other brands, smaller brands, maverick brands, niche brands. I think as we're speaking, 5 new brands probably just were born.
Probably. And what we found is that there was an appreciation for fragrance in different forms. So if you loved it on your skin, you loved it in a candle, you wanted it in the ambient diffusion.
Yeah, and the Sparty scents that are a tube that you can roll on, so portable.
Yes.
You could always have fragrance where you just throw it into anything, but fun and portable. New ways to wear fragrance. I mean, people talk to me about that a lot, and you know, hair mists are very big right now. Scented nail polish has been big for the last few years. Leather bracelets that you can spray your fragrance on. Any way that you can sort of carry it with you and make it fun. And people are way more aware of it, which makes me feel great.
So the future is bright for those of us who are
really bright.
scent lovers, scent influencers.
Really bright. People began reading more and looking at things they hadn't looked at before. So it was educational. And then they got bold and brave and wanted to try stuff, and it was so easy. You went online and it was delivered in a few days, and you had something new to get excited about. And you know, maybe you couldn't wear your lipstick because you're maybe wearing a mask, or maybe you couldn't, or maybe you weren't going out so much, so you weren't putting on your jewels. But this was for you. It was for you. I mean, of course, we like to smell good, and the original motive of fragrance, if you go way back in history, was to attract, but I wear it for me. I expect a lot from my fragrance. I expect it to prepare me for my day. I expect a lot. I want it to make me feel finished, polished. Sometimes I want it to make me feel alluring, but sometimes I want it to just make me feel completely finished when I walk out the door.
Absolutely, and today I'm finding people are even taking all that thinking further. They want it to help them feel more balanced, or more calm. Or more confident, or
and fragrance is a great way,
or even to be more focused. We have a fragrance called Mint Focus here that we were, you know, really selling a lot of during the pandemic, because it was great for the kids to help focus them with all of this hours and hours of Zoom learning at home. So fragrance has even gone further.
I just researched for an article I worked on that for a magazine about mood boosting fragrances. And you know, the citrus, the mint, of course, the citrus. Jasmine is good for focus. Rose is calming. I mean, I did so much research on it, but it's amazing. They work. It's true. They really work.
It really triggers those sensations.
Whether you're wearing it or it's around you, you know, sometimes you don't want to be wearing it, sometimes you just want to inhale it. But for me, writing the article was really interesting, and this is all proven scientific stuff. That's why, you know, lavender, a lot of people know about lavender, but I don't know if they knew about jasmine was also calming. Green tea. One professor did research on fresh cut grass and created a perfume, and it helped people stay focused more. And I did a thing on suntan lotion. The smell of suntan lotion makes people feel comfortable because they love being at the beach. It was for people that, so the smell of maybe the coconut or the palm oil or something, it was calming for them. Cinnamon is another one. Yes. People love cinnamon in their fragrances because It reminds you of happy, maybe family times with cooking involved, holidays. I mean, the memories, the power of sensory memory is incredible. You can smell something and it can instantly take you back to another time in your life, or it can, you know, it can maybe I haven't been to Cyprus, but if I'm using something that has, you know, olive oil from Cyprus or lemon from Cyprus,
Figs.
I feel like, or figs from Cyprus, I feel like I haven't been there, but this is what it's like. It's my armchair travel until I can get there one day, and even if I don't get there, I can feel like I'm there.
Well, we're going to go there with you for real as the world starts to reopen.
Yes.
My greatest wish is to take that actual trip with you. But today has been a trip
I'm
unto
ready.
itself. This has
been
been
a trip.
so amazing to be with you this
Yeah.
morning. It's been so great to be with Karen, and thank you for creating
Absolutely.
Sniffapalozza, and thanks for all you do to celebrate fragrance. And
I'm just spreading that fragrance love
yes, you
wherever I
certainly
can.
are.
And you know what my motto is?
What is it?
Making the world smell better one person at a time.
Bravo!
That's what I try and do. And you come here and it's so easy because there's so many good things to smell.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, so this is like one-stop shopping.
Thank you.
Come here and there's so many great smells. But always love to see you. Always love to come and smell and see what's new. And I'm going to do shopping.
All right, thank you. We're gonna go shop.
We're going to shop.
Bye.
Bye.